when you're ready.
Good morning. My name is Lori and I'm with Almost a Farm. And today we are going to water glass eggs. We have an overabundance of eggs right now because the days are getting longer. We have plenty for our customers, plenty for our family to eat, and we still have a lot of extra eggs. So, because they are so wonderful and delicious, we want to preserve them. So what we're going to do, we're going to water glass them today. And we have picked our cleanest eggs that we have. Of course, they're not washed because we have to keep the bloom on them. But we have the cleanest ones we have from our flock. So we're going to water glass these today. I'm going to go through the process. But what's great about this process is come October, when the chickens are starting to molt and we're not getting as many eggs, and we start baking and we need eggs for, more eggs, we will have these eggs that we've preserved ready to go because they keep in the cabinet, water glass, anywhere from 4 to 12 months. So anyway, this will be a great way to preserve our eggs. I'm going to go through the process with you today. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, I already told you, we're going to use cleanest eggs we have, not washed. We've got to preserve the bloom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack these quart glass canning jars with eggs. I've got everything sterilized. I've sterilized the jars, the tongs, everything you want to keep as sterile as possible. Super important. Clean hands, everything. So I'm going to carefully, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to have any kind of a crack or an opening in your egg, because if you do, that could cause some spoilage. So you got to be very careful not to crack the egg. So you can see how careful I'm being putting the eggs in the jar. Okay, now I've got the jars filled, and these I've got about 8 in each one. Of course, it's going to depend on how big your eggs are. You don't want to go over the top, obviously, because you've got to put your lid on. Your solution's going to go in, and then you've got to put your lid on. So now I'm going to go ahead and make the solution, and I've got my pickling lime here. This is very important that you use pickling lime, and you can get this. This is available most places. I believe we got this at B&B in LeGrand. Okay, so I'm going to use. I've got my jars all ready to go, so I'm going to I'm going to measure out the lime. I've got to weigh it out. So I've got my scale here, my kitchen scale, measuring spoon, and I'm going to use 1 ounce of pickling lime. So I'm going to weigh it so I can get 1 ounce in here. And I have my scale tailored to the proper, so this is I've got it zeroed out. So I'm gonna measure this out until I get to 1 ounce.
1.5.
Oh, we're gonna go with 1.5 for this amount, okay? So there's 0.6, 0.95, and we will go to 1.48. Okay, whoops, that went a little over. My pickling lime all weighed out. I've got 1.5 ounces of pickling lime. Now I'm going to just dump it into, this is just water. This is filtered water that's been warmed up. And now I'm just gonna whisk this to get it all nice and mixed up. So I've got my solution. Okay, now that I've got my solution all nice and mixed up, and again, I've got 1.5 quarts here of solution. I'm going to very carefully pour it over my eggs. And you're gonna leave a little space at the top. Not a lot, but just a little bit of space. But you wanna cover the egg. So the last egg, and we had to kind of size the eggs because you don't want, you want to be able to get as many in the jar as you can, but you don't want them to stick out of the top, obviously. So you've got to be kind of like a little bit of a puzzle putting them in there. So, okay, we've got our solution covering the eggs. Okay, now these aren't, okay. All right, now I've got my sterilized lids. These are plastic lids. You want to use a plastic lid as opposed to metal. So I'm going to use this plastic white lid. It goes on the canning jar, just screws right on there. Don't want it too super tight, just kind of hand tight. And what's really very important also, after we get this done, before we put it in our cabinet, we want to date it. We want to put how many eggs and the date that we glass these. So, and then here is our finished product. Now, over time, this will clear up. The lime will kind of settle and they will clear up. We'll probably take a picture for you in a couple of days and just show you what they look like. But this is the finished product right now. Now we'll put these in a cool, dark cabinet in our garage, and they'll be safe to eat for the next 4 to 12 months. Happy eggs. It's egg